I gotta sneeze. Okay, we're good. Maybe. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is not Tuesday, and I know that. I'm sorry. So today's video, I want to talk about getting an apartment. I mean, you don't really need to see it. It's nothing special right now. But I want to talk about getting your own apartment. So if you're ready to move into an apartment, first things first. And what you want to do is, of course, look on what's available. Now, there's 3 websites I recommend. Zillow is probably the best one. Then you have apartments.com. It's here's like second best. Sometimes it has more options, sometimes it does the same thing. That's another one. The third one is Trulia. Trulia is basically anyone looking for someone to take a spot in their apartment. So it's not like really going on your own. It's more like, hey, do you want to live with people and save some money for a while? Makes sense. Totally an option you can have. Thing is, look at the area around you, know what kind of money you're trying to spend each month, calculate how much money you make at work, how much you already pay for bills, how much you might have to pay for bills. Make sure, you know, do you want TV, do you want internet, you know, that kind of stuff. Write that all down, calculate all that, you gotta do math. You gotta do all that math before you do anything. Look at the areas, find ones that look good. If you find something within your price range, make sure, if you don't already know the area, to research the area. If you haven't heard my story, I'll link that down below, but like when I was getting mine, I went to a first place and it was not the area whatsoever that I wanted to live in. The biggest issue about that was because I didn't do any research and I assumed, oh, this is a nice area, so like the whole thing must be a nice area, and I turned out to be horribly wrong. So definitely look at the area, research it. If you have a chance, like drive through it, you know, look at where the apartment might be and just kind of get an idea of where you're trying to live. On top of where you're gonna live, if you don't have a car like me, is it close to the bus? Is it in walking distance from your job or wherever you need to go? Grocery stores, if you go to the gym, stuff like that. Like the whole shebang, like where am I gonna live? Where I'm going, you know, all that stuff needs to be looked at before you even call up the person to go look at the apartment. Another thing to look at is rent versus utilities. Now, if you don't know, utilities are all the things that come with an apartment: water, electricity, garbage, sewage, like all this stuff you think just comes with a house. If you don't know, you have to pay for it, okay? So utilities are, yeah, all that stuff. So for example, for my place, I pay rent and I only pay for gas, which is like heating my stove, because I have a gas stove. And also, if you're thinking like, oh, I don't need gas, I'll just use a microwave or whatever, it also heats up your water, which I didn't know at first. So if you want warm water, you're gonna need gas too, if that's what you need for your apartment. I also pay for electricity. Did I say that right? I might say that right. So just electricity, gas, and rent. That's what I pay for. Now, other places may be like, hey, here's this really cheap price, and then you pay for all the utilities. Or, you know, you might get lucky. I found places like back when I didn't have money and I was just looking like way ahead of time that were like, I don't know, like $5.75, we'll pay for everything, don't even worry about it, you just pay rent. So look around. If the thing doesn't say it, like, I don't think they usually put it on Zillow. I know apartments, like people that post on there are really good at saying like, these are the utilities you pay. Make sure when you call or when you go on a tour that you're like, hey, what utilities am I paying? Because, you know, if you don't, they might, you know, give you some price and then be like, all right, here are all the utilities, and you're like, oh, I'm paying a lot more than I thought. Like, you know, you're thinking you're gonna pay $600 a month, and then they're like, you pay everything, and you're paying like $800 a month, which may not be something you want to do on top of like, you know, your other bills, internet, TV, stuff like that. So again, just to recap, do all your calculations beforehand, check out the area, check out, you know, your daily life, what you go through, if it's in distance, like how far things are from where you would be. Make sure you check how much they want you to pay and if they're gonna pay for utilities or if you have to pay for certain utilities. Do that first. Then you schedule a tour. When you're going through a tour, be fucking thorough, because that's what I didn't do. And there's some small things that I wish I would have looked at ahead of time. That way I could have like saved more money or like bought certain things instead of like being broke and then having to wait. So like look, like literally like look around, look in the closets, look in the bathroom, like you know how you live. So look around and be like, okay, does it have this? Does it have this thing I need? Okay, is this broken? You know, blah, 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 stuff like that. I didn't do that, and for example, like my thermostat thing says I have hot and cold, but I don't have cold, so it was a lie. So if you see me sweating a lot, it's because it gets pretty hot in here. And there's no really point in buying AC because it's gonna get cold pretty soon. But like, maybe I'll buy a fan. But like, keep that in mind. Like, does this place have heat? Does it have cold? Are there things I need to buy? Are there things, but like my toilet was a little bit broken. Like when you flush, the water would, there's like a little bit of water that would come out, and I didn't check that ahead of time. My shower's old, and it had, well, not old, but it's like old style, so it's not like built into the wall like most. So I had to get 2 shower curtains and, you know, liners, which I didn't know. I only bought one. I was like, oh great, I'm out of money. Like, I guess I don't know what to do. So I had to figure that out. But like, make sure you just like be thorough, look around, make notes, ask questions, okay? If you need renter's insurance, if they're just gonna come by at random times and just look in on your stuff, you know, if something's broken, are you supposed to call someone or are they supposed to call someone? Stuff like that. Just make sure anything you would possibly want in your apartment, make sure you look through and see if they have it, and just ask your landlord, talk to your landlord about, you know, if they can accommodate that or like what are the rules, all that good stuff. Oh, another thing to definitely, if you can't think of a question, one big one is how does guests work? You know, some people might not like you having guests for too long, you know, if you have someone over or whatever. I doubt they're gonna check in on you, but you know, just to be sure, ask how they feel about, you know, friends and like family and just guests in general coming over and staying. You know, for example, like they don't care about mine as long as that person doesn't move in. Ooh, another note, I don't think this needs to be said, but I'm gonna say it anyways, because when I was looking, I saw a bunch of places and some of them didn't have kitchens, which you think is weird, or they have like a kitchenette, which means they'd be like, here's like a sink and maybe a fridge, but like there's no stove, and it's like, well, how am I supposed to? So make sure your place, if you need a kitchen, that it has a kitchen, okay? Like make sure that you have a kitchen, like a full-on like sink, fridge, stove, unless you don't need it. I don't know, it might be you, but like me, I need the whole shebang. Your boy likes to cook, I like to eat. Oh, another big thing that I just looked at over here is my so when you give the deposit, it's so that when you give the deposit, is that they keep the money, and if you ever do anything wrong or break anything or whatever, they'll take that money and be like, well, we're gonna use that to fix whatever you broke. For example, mine probably will be taken because I need the internet and I didn't know how internet works. So they're like, yeah, we're gonna have to like drill a hole in the wall and like put wires through and like put on this box, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, sure, like I just need internet. I'm like, well, there goes the deposit, maybe. So make sure you talk to your landlord for sure if you're gonna get internet or like cable and there's not already a wire in here or like a setup. They're like, hey, if I need this thing, like, you know, what do you, like, do you need extra money from me? They'll probably ask for extra money or something. But make sure to definitely keep that in mind. On top of finding a place, don't forget that you have to pay for, I just said the word and I forgot what it was. You have to give them a deposit and you have to give them rent. First month's rent is just like, kind of like holding the place, or the deposit kind of holds the place for you. And again, like that's the money, if you ever mess up, they're gonna take it from you. And then rent's just, you know, just gotta give them enough rent for the month, whatever. So make sure you calculate that too. Usually it's first month's rent and then the deposit. Some places are first month's, last month's, and a deposit. I'm like, I don't know who got money like that. But like, for example, if you rent a place for like 500, 600, you're probably gonna pay 1,000 to 1,200 up front. Now granted, you know, if you talk to the landlord again, they might be able to work with you. For me, I was like, hey, can I give you a deposit? You hold the place, and then like, I give you next month's rent. And they were like, or like, you know, next time I get paid, I'll give you first month's rent. And they were like, yeah, sure, like, whatever, we get it. So just make sure you talk to your landlord. That's the biggest thing about this whole, like, second part of the process is just communication and just talking to your landlord, seeing what they want, seeing how they act. So that's what I would say in getting a place. If I can recap real quick, again, it's just calculating all that money, how much you make, how much you plan on spending, how much rent and stuff would be, how much the deposit and first month's rent would be. Look at the area, how far is it away from everything you do in your daily life. Research the area. I don't know if I already said that. And when you get there and you check it out, make sure, you know, you look at everything you possibly want. Make sure you definitely ask about the internet type of thing, guests. And you know, from there, everything else should be pretty simple. And if you have any questions, I mean, feel free to ask me in the comments below. But definitely ask your landlord, they'll probably have more answers. But yeah, if you want to talk to me, have any questions about my experience with getting an apartment, let me know. I'm definitely down to help anyone out. Give this video a like, share it with people that are about to get an apartment so that they can be slightly educated. And until next time, peace!